Welcome to the Mindful Movement community. Nicki Noftz, Pilates instructor and owner of Mindful Movement. Today I'm going to answer a question regarding soreness in the ribs. So every time I'm addressing these questions, I'm not just going to be looking at one piece. Pilates perspective, we're never looking at where the pain's coming from. We're always trying to look and see where are all the other places that are causing the pain. Many times there's a lot more of an intricate structure going on outside of just where the pain's coming from. So we're trying to balance the body out. So what I'm going to do is give you several exercises to help with pain in the ribs. Pain in the ribs can be very common. Sometimes it can be felt on the upper chest, very tender in this area. Other times people might feel it on the sides or even for women underneath the breasts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you these different various exercises. They're going to stretch the ribs, that are going to strengthen the spine. They're just going to do things that is going to make all of that kind of loosen up a little bit, get more freedom of movement, and find strength. So the best and first place we're going to start is breathing. This is the easiest, gentlest way we can really affect our ribs and start to get not only stronger in our ribs, more flexible in our ribs, but also help improve our internal functions. Help our lungs get stronger, detoxify the body, as well as boost our immunity. So, with the Pilates breath, we're going to inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. In Pilates, we're always pulling our belly in and up, and then we're exhaling. I tend to like to do an open mouth, relaxing my jaw, softening the throat, not forcing it, because again, this is going to do counterproductive to what we're trying to do. We're trying to find ease of movement, not necessarily hinder the movement. So you want it to be very natural as it's coming out. Now the best way to think about this is you want to expand your ribcage in all four directions. So you want to fill out into each of the armpits and then in between your shoulder blades and into your back. For most of us, we're going to breathe way up here. And we're not going to know how to really expand our lungs. What we want to think about is this expansion. So as you expand, think about that rib cage going in four different directions. Not just up, but in four different directions. That way, as we go, we're going to expand the ribs in all ways. If you find that you struggle, especially in the back, many of us are going to struggle breathing into the back. Keep working on it. You can do a couple things too. You can lay down as you're doing it and try and feel that you're breathing back there. You can go up against the wall again to get that feedback. But keep focusing on it. The more you do it, the more you're going to get this expansion. So you're just going to inhale and exhale. And inhale and exhale. Now, as you notice, my shoulders are not going to pull up, so this is not a breath that I'm lifting with my shoulders. It is truly coming from all of the ribs, the rib cage, the lungs basically filling up, which is then expanding the ribs. So it's inhale and exhale. If you're having some troubles too, you can also put your hands on the sides here to see, can I fill into my hands? Can I breathe out into these hands and then exhale? Let the hands just come together. So practicing this breath, you can do this anytime. You can do this in the car, you can do this sitting at home watching TV, you can do this before you go to bed, because it's also going to be a very calming breath. But the more you do this, the more you should find that those ribs start to just get a little bit more movement. You're going to be able to breathe better in general. The next exercise we want to look at are some arm circles. So when we're looking at some arm circles, there's a couple things we can use as a tool to help us. The first one I have here is a foam roller. You can find these around, they're about $30. They even make ones that are half, and then they come in different densities. The foam roller is great if you have balance problems. It might not be the best option because it is going to require you to have some balance, which all in all is not a bad thing. But what you're going to do is you're going to sit on the edge, roll yourself down so that your entire spine is lined up on this. Now this is going to allow us to get a little bit more openness into our shoulders and into across the chest here. So we're going to inhale as we lift the arms up and overhead. Exhale as we go wide. And we'll inhale and exhale. You could even choose to put a little bit of weight The goal here is not that we're necessarily trying to, bulk up, but a little 2-pound weight, 1-pound weight might not be bad, just to give you a little bit more kind of openness. That little bit of weight is going to make that shoulder open just a little bit more. If you're having problems and you're getting caught, many times, a lot of people are going to start feeling like a popping going on in their shoulder. Take a look and see what's happening. Sometimes that shoulder is going to pull up like this as you're trying to do that. You need to let that relax down so that it can come all the way through. Also, if it just keeps popping and you are relaxing down, shorten your circle. All you have to do is, instead of going all the way back, go partially back, but make sure you get the open and wideness, and just shorten that circle a little bit. As you get more flexibility and more strength in here, you'll be able to go wider. And the big thing that we're trying to do, since we are trying to really work the arms, is this open and wideness. This piece here, because you want to stretch across the chest, open the ribs as you come down and around. Then you reverse it, 5 and 8 in each direction, allowing that openness of the chest, breathing deeply into the spot. Now, if you have a problem with the foam roller, A, you don't have a foam roller, B, balance is an issue, you can just go ahead and get a bolster. A bolster, a pillow, anything that's going to prop you up enough to get that openness in the shoulders. That's what you're looking for. You could even choose to hold the arms out here and breathe, getting that expansion. So, foam roller, bolster, pillow, anything that lifts you up enough that you can get that openness through that chest. So that's going to be great working across the chest, but now we need to learn a little bit how are we going to get our spine to bend a little bit more, which again is going to react with our ribs. So we're going to do Pilates upper body curl. Upper body curls can be great for learning how to soften in our chest, because we do need to get some softness here, which is going to require our back to bend. So for the upper body curl, to me it doesn't matter if you take your hands behind your head or if you take your hands at your sides. It's going to be your judgment call. If you're a person who tends to kind of pull on your head, you might not want to use the hands. If you're a person that can use the hands as a support to let your head rest into your hands, you're going to go ahead and do that. So when we talk about a Pilates upper body curl, we're going to start with our chin lowering to our chest, softening our chest as we lift up. And the goal is to get about right off where the shoulder blades are off the mat. If, however, you're not that high up because you just don't have the strength yet, you don't have the bend or flexibility, don't worry about getting that high. Work in a place where you're bending this chest. Really be working that area. If you're feeling too much strain behind your neck, come back down, regather, and do it again. You might feel a stretch in the back of your neck. That is a good thing. But if you're feeling gripping, tense, shooting pains, not good, regroup, try it again. So here's what most people tend to do as they do this. The first thing is they look up towards the ceiling. Now if you see this, this is just pulling on my head in a very, very funky way. In my neck, and then I'm kind of crunching back here. So that's definitely not a good way to do it. The next way people do is that they're going to close their air off and they're going to pull like this. Again, I'm not doing any good for my neck here. I'm not doing any good for my ribs. I'm just tensing everything up. What you want to think about is a softening and a concaving in the chest here. We're going to sequence all the way through this area. So as I lower my chin to my chest, I'm going to go ahead and soften. And you're going to see that I'm going to sequence right through all the pieces. Now, if I'm really tight in my upper back, I might not get this high. I might not have this much bend. If my spine doesn't have this much bend, I'm definitely not this high. I might be back here. Is that a bad place to be? No. That's where your spine is today. That's okay. Don't worry about having to be up high or being to push, because this is no good for the body. This is not doing anything but reiterating a bad pattern. This, however, is going to get you to soften that ribs, those chests, open your airway, and find a new strength and a new bend in your spine. Keep working the bend until you get up higher. We're also going to look at some extension exercises. So upper body curl being a flexion exercise, which is important, we're going to look at some extension. I'm going to start with swan. If swan's a little bit too challenging for your body because you're just not there yet, you're going to want to go to shoulder bridge. For swan, we're going to be on our bellies, hands are going to be by our sides. We're going to sequence up starting with our chin, lifting up towards the ceiling. You're going to inhale up, exhale down. So just as in the upper body curl, you were softening your chest from the front, now you have to soften in this upper back. So as I come in, I soften that upper back and I pull forward so that I find length in my spine. Not collapsing, not crunching, but length. And down. If you can't get up that high, you could just choose to do this. And down. And then you just kind of keep working through that spot. The main thing is we're trying to open that chest again. Breathing deeply into those ribs. Finding that expansion. If you do find that one a little bit tricky, let's do the shoulder bridge instead. Shoulder bridge, feet are going to be walking close to your booty, flat on the mat, hip width apart, hands pressing on your sides. You're going to inhale, start to lift that tailbone up, sequencing all the way through the spine, pressing the shoulders, the arm, feet into the mat. Exhale, soften that chest, just like I was talking about in that upper body curl. And everything coming down. And you just come up. And you soften and melt down. A couple things to be aware about as you're doing this though. When you lift up, you want to make sure you keep the weight even on the feet and even on the shoulders. So you don't want to create a bridge that's either way up over here and I have no weight in my feet, or way over here where I'm just letting my hips hang. You want to create even balance between the shoulders and head and your feet. So when you're lifting up, make sure you're pressing on those feet, pressing in that shoulders, the arms, the head and neck, and then you're down so that you have an even bridge. And again, if your bridge is not that high, that's okay, but keep working more of the spinal manipulation. It's not necessarily about the height that you're getting, but the spinal manipulation, because we're trying to get all of that tissue to kind of break up and move and get stronger and do what it needs to so that you get a little bit more freedom in those ribs. And hopefully start to find less pain as you do the exercises. We also need to make sure we're doing some side bending, some lateral movement. This is going to be mermaid. Mermaid's going to be great for stretching the sides of the ribs. So we're going to place the hand down. We're going to inhale as we lift up and over. Exhale, come back. Inhale, lift up and over. Exhale, back. If you have a problem with the neck, you can go ahead and choose to look forward or look down. Find a place that's comfortable for your neck. Just don't kind of crank on it. You also don't want that shoulder lifted up like this. We want to keep it open. If you have a hard time with reaching up over your head, your arm might be out here more. That's okay. Let your arm be in a comfortable position. What we don't want to have happen is that you're up over here and you're just lifting up like this. Again, we're not going to really do much for the body. We want to stretch all the way through this side. So think about that you're going to really lengthen through the armpit down into your hips. Especially when we come to this other side, we're going to find it's a little bit tighter, but we want to get that stretch all the way down. Make sure we're not rolling in, but kind of opening just a little bit so that we stretch those ribs. Last one we're going to do is saw. Saw is going to be a twisting exercise. So now we're going to get some twist that's going to help maneuver us in just a little bit of a different way, help release the muscles around our spine, and help our shoulders as well. So again, we're going to kind of be working all in this area while also working lower. So it's not that we're just up in here, but we are getting kind of the most freedom in this area. Our arms are going to come out to the side, legs are going to be out, feet flexed. If you can take your legs, a little bit wider than your shoulders. If you need to be in a little bit closer, it's okay, it's fine, it's not a problem. But we want the arms out to the side. Many times people are going to kind of drop their arms here. We want to keep the arms lifted. And you want them reaching out. So again, we don't want the shoulders lifting up, but we want them reaching out. We do want engagement. We do want to stretch, just like when we were doing those arm circles. We want that kind of openness. You're going to inhale as you twist. If you have a tight shoulder, your arm is not going to be able to move this way. You're going to have to come down and around, pressing your back palm up. If you do have the shoulder range, you go from here to just palm up. But find a place where you find the most ease in your shoulder. It should not be strenuous to do the motion. So find the place that is the least strenuous for you. You twist as far as you can twist. If this means that you're over here and this is where your saw is as you come forward, that's fine. If you have more twist in your spine, you're going to come over towards your opposite foot. Back palm presses up to the ceiling, straight wrist, straight elbow, and you're going to bend, taking your gaze towards your back hand. Again, if the neck is hurting here, take it either straight out or down. Find a place that makes the neck feel the most natural. Now we want to make sure we're pulling those arms in two different directions as we do this. So we're reaching and twisting. As we twist, we want to think about twisting that rib cage up a little bit more, and then we come up and untwist. And we go to the other side. Back palm comes up, we reach in those two directions, and lifting back up. So those are some great exercises to start working to see if you can get some release in those ribs. You want to do a variety of the exercises rather than just focus on one. But if you are going to just start slowly, start with the breathing. That would be definitely the first place to go. And then you can slowly add in these other exercises if you want. But take it to the place that you feel comfortable. You might have to tune in a little bit more to those ribs. We want to make sure we're not pulling on them, but that we're actually strengthening them and building more flexibility in the right kind of way. If you have any other questions, please let me know. I do love to take your questions. I love to share my knowledge with you and really be inspired. Have a great day, and I'll be talking to you soon.